Hello, welcome back to my channel. We're finally starting to code our project. In this video, we will focus on the entity, models, and repositories. If you're not familiar with these terms, don't worry, I will explain them briefly. If you haven't watched the previous video, I strongly suggest you watch it. Okay, let's start now. Before we continue, I want you to know that this channel is all about growing as software engineers together. If you want to join, subscribe now. As I promised in the previous video, you can have access to the database schema files in this folder. You can use the schema image to examine the table structure and relationships between the tables. You can use the other file to generate the tables I use on your machine. We're going to start with renaming the application.properties file to application.yml. You can use it as it is, but converting to the YML version is more convenient. I start with the name of the application. Then I enter the credentials for my MySQL database connection as environment variables. It is a good practice to define your credentials as environment variables because even if your code is stolen, your private tokens and passwords are safe. Then I also add the issuer and token secret information here. Now I will show you how to initialize these environment variables on the IntelliJ IDE. Click on Run, then click Edit Configurations. Make sure that you have the Environment Variables section in the opening window. If you don't have it, you can modify the options. I'm adding the issue value as an example. You can have as many environment variables as you want. By the way, a secure JSON Web Token secret key must be at least 258 bits, which equals to 64 characters. You can randomly generate your secret keys using this website. The link is in the description. Since I use IntelliJ Ultimate, it's easy to generate the models because it has a dedicated feature to do so. Don't worry, the code still will be okay when you copy and paste into your workspace, but I highly recommend using IntelliJ's Ultimate version because it makes the development experience a lot easier for Java developers. You can get it for free if you're a student. The details are in the description. For the sake of project structure, I will put them into a subfolder called Models. Therefore, I'm creating that folder first. Then I right-click on that subfolder. I choose New GPA Entries from Database. As you can see, all the tables we implemented on the database are there. Simply click on the tables that you want to create models for. In this case, I select all tables. All models that we need were generated successfully, but we're not done yet. I told you in the previous video that the generation of ID columns of each table will be handled by our backend. Now we need to add a single line of code to generate a UUID for each saved record in the database. This is so easy. I'm gonna repeat this process for each model on our project, but there's a small detail about the ID of the student has course table. I'm going to explain it soon. As you can see, the ID type of this table is an embedded ID. Embedded IDs are composed of more than one column. In this case, the ID values of this table are made up of student ID and course ID values. These two values make a unique ID for this table. Since I have already added the code for UUID generation for the student and course tables, I won't do anything for this table. We still have something to modify on our models. I will use Lombok annotations on created by, created at, updated by and updated at attributes. Also, we will prohibit changing the information about creation when updating, so I set updatable as false here. And since the information about updating will be null, I set insertable value as false here. This will help us automatically track the changes on the record without so much effort. Of course, this solely doesn't work. We also need to enable GPA auditing feature. In the upcoming videos, I will be implementing this feature. I copied these common attributes so that I can paste them into other models. Okay, our models are ready now. It's time to implement the repositories now. I'm going to use the dedicated feature of IntelliJ Ultimate to generate the repositories because it's more convenient. But you can also copy and paste my code. You can even type them because repository classes are not too long. I choose all the models listed here except the last two. Okay, our repositories were also generated. All of them are under the repositories subfolder. That's it. We have implemented the most important parts of the project. If you have any questions, write them in the comments. I will continue to implement the project, so make sure that you are subscribed to my channel. See you in the next video.